And welcome back to the second hour of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. The network is the American Family Radio Talk Network. And I want to mention again that you've got an opportunity to pick up some Easter buttons for yourself, for your family, for your church by going to afastore.net, or you can call the number 877-927-4917. Got a whole range of options there. Easter buttons, Easter yard signs, Easter stickers. We've got Easter church packs. We've got Easter display boxes. These are beautifully designed buttons that say Easter means he lives. So a terrific opportunity. Can be conversation starters. It's an opportunity for you to literally wear your faith on your sleeve. So go to afastore.net or call 877-927-4917. Number to call if you want to join the conversation, 888-589-8840. Let's go back to the top of the rundown, Rob, and grab clip number one while we're talking about the sequester. And by the way, the Republicans are looking at trying to find a way to put more of the onus back on Barack Obama. And I will tell you, I do not like what they are doing. What the Republicans are looking at, Republicans in the Senate in particular, they're looking at giving Barack Obama more power to decide where these cuts are made. And I say no. You know what? They're looking for cover. Instead of accepting their constitutional responsibility to appropriate money, they want to delegate that responsibility to the president. They cannot do that. Now, I understand why they want to do it. They want Barack Obama to own this sequester. And in point of fact, I've got a story here from the Wall Street Journal indicating that Barack Obama has actually far more authority when it comes to making decisions about where these adjustments are made than most people think. It has to do with technical details about the law and difference between budgets and projects, programs, and activities, line items, and all that. I won't bore you with the details, but they are saying this is what the Wall Street Journal says. What all of this means is that in most cases, the president has the room to protect his investments while managing the fiscal transition over time. So in other words, what the Wall Street Journal is saying is that Barack Obama is the one who is going to wind up deciding where these fiscal adjustments are made. So whatever changes are made, he owns them already because of the authority that he has based on this law. So it's not the Republicans' fault if 800,000 people get furloughed in the military. It's not the Republicans' fault if the air traffic controllers keep you waiting 2 or 3 hours on the tarmac and are not enough TSA. It's not the Republicans' fault if they pull Border Patrol agents back from the border and release all these illegal alien inmates. It's not the Republicans' fault because President Obama has the authority to decide where the resources that are at his disposal are allocated. So it is all totally smoke and mirrors. Now, here is President Obama, clip number one. He's complaining about the sequester cuts. Let's listen.
Now, lately, some people have been saying, well, maybe we'll just give the president some flexibility. He can make the cuts the way he wants, and that way it won't be as damaging. You know, the problem is when you're cutting $85 billion in 7 months, which represents over a 10% cut in the defense budget in 7 months, there's no smart way to do that. There's no smart way to do that. You don't want to have to choose between, let's see, do I close funding for the disabled kid or the poor kid? Do I close this Navy shipyard or some other one? When you're doing things in a way that's not smart, you know, you can't gloss over the pain and the impact it's going to have on the economy.
So here is President Obama saying there is no smart way to administer these cuts. Now, the Wall Street Journal piece I just mentioned had this suggestion toward the end. Here's just a couple of places to start if you want to make these sequestration adjustments. I'm not even going to call them cuts. Somebody's got to call me. Somebody find me. Jeff, Rob, Jan, find me if I ever use the word cut. to talk about sequester. I'll have a tip jar and I'll put a quarter in it every time I use the word cut, unless I'm reading a story or quoting somebody else. These are not cuts. That's not a fine. Now, don't fine me on that one because I'm clarifying. Okay, but they're not cuts. It's just a reduction in the rate of growth. You know, and Rand Paul made a great statement. If we can't even make these modest adjustments, if we can't even reduce the rate of growth, let alone make actual cuts, how are we ever going to get our fiscal house in order? But here's the Wall Street Journal. Before furloughing park rangers, maybe start with the 10% of the 75,000 Department of Interior employees who are conserving the wilderness of Washington, D.C. We got 75,000 people in the Department of Interior. Their job is to watch over, that's the Department of Interior, watch over wilderness lands and rangelands. 75,000 of them that are working, or 10% of them, 7,500, are working in Washington, D.C. What do we need them for? There is no, well, I mean, there's a wilderness of a different kind in D.C., but you get the point. They go on. Before slashing cancer research, stop funding the $130 million a year National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine that studies herbs and yoga. So we're spending $130 million to study herbs and yoga. There's a smart place to stop. There's a way to do that. Now, Rob, grab clip number 6. This is John Kerry. You might have heard about this. But this is John Kerry. You know, and President Obama said there's no smart way to do this. Well, there's plenty of smart ways to do it. Rand Paul can give you a lot of smart ways to do it. But John Kerry says, hey, President Obama has got a right to his own opinions, and here's why.
Some people have sometimes wondered about why our Supreme Court allows one group or another to march in a parade, even though it's the most provocative thing in the world, and they carry signs that are an insult to one group or another. And the reason is that's freedom of speech. In America, you have a right to be stupid if you want to be.
So John Kerry, Secretary of State, in America, you have a right to be stupid if you want to be. If you're not smart enough to figure out how to make intelligent sequester cuts, you've got a right to be stupid. That's President Obama's own Secretary of State saying that. And Jeff, you were telling me on our last break, you know, if Janet Napolitano at the Department of Homeland Security, if she's concerned that they don't have enough money to man the borders, enough Border Patrol agents and enough detention beds, you had a suggestion about one of the things that she could do.
Yeah, I think a good place to start is quit buying all those bullets. I mean, what is it, 1.4 billion rounds?
Yeah, 1.6 billion. I don't know how much that cost, but that's a lot of Border Patrol agents. That's a lot of detention beds. That's a lot of sheets and pillows and inmates. All right, so again, Jeff Reed, smarter than the president, smarter than a fifth grader. Here's a way to save some money, Janet. Say there's no smart ways to do it. Our own Jeff Reed has got a great, let's stop buying $1.6 billion of hollow point ammunition whose only possible purpose would be to be used against American citizens. Talking to somebody this morning, was at a sporting goods shop in Alabama. No guns, no ammo, can't find it. Big Sis has got it all. Focal Point, AFR Time.